The grief has been palpable lately. I'll tell you that. So, go mind off things. Let's go to the land down under and talk about their parks and transit. I'm Lindsay. You're watching History and Leisure. Be sure to follow on Instagram, Threads, Bluesky, History_Leisure, as well as a Substack and my second channel, History and Leisure Echoes, where I post copyright-free footage and bonus material. So if you've been familiar with the series, is that recently I've merged all rail into one category, but since it's pretty relevant here, I split it up into separate categories. Also, ferry is going to be a bit more relevant than usual, so I dedicated the miscellaneous tab just. Starting off in the Gold Coast, that's where you have to start, is Warner Brothers Movie World. I didn't notice initially, but the Movie World Coast actually has a dedicated bus loop on the TX, and this connects Helenshaven Camara Station. There's actually a parallel light rail line that terminates at Helensvale. It goes right into the heart of Gold Coast itself. So that connection there, I'm awarding the points for rapid transit there and main intermodality of that station. Overall, actually, I don't think the parking lots are actually that intrusive with any, and there's not many people here. And also, it's only like 2 miles from the train station. On that same route, the TX7, we hit Dream World, connects to Camara. So you get the 2 minutes for original rail, and the Bond bus connect to it. But that's all it gets. But going into the heart of Gold Coast itself, following the light rail line, we hit SeaWorld, which is like on a weird note between an inlet and Pacific Ocean, to be honest. But like the rail wasn't directly served. You have to go down a little bit to like Main Beach. But yeah, there is bus loop there from the 704 and the 705, and then you also have ferries all the way over inland to Surfer's Paradise. Got a point for that one connection there. Let's do the 2 Luna Parks next. Down in Sydney, that's like right in downtown. Everything passes there. There's the new metro tunnel, regional rail crosses with the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I didn't know that until a few years ago. Ferries everywhere. Actually, 3 routes serving. I did actually dock a point for Luna Park, though, with the metro, just because it's at North Sydney. You have it, but it's definitely not people aren't going to use it to get there. Because I'm using, I say, Milson Station is like the main station. The other Luna Park down in Melbourne, not so, right on Hobson's Bay. Very small, but you have a light rail station right there. One both ways, the other only goes toward downtown. Fortunately, it's only a point and a half. That one of the trolley lines there does continue to Balaclava on the starting in line. Feasible to get there on the regional rail, although there is a decent metro network. I don't think there's any ferry that goes directly across from Williamstown to St. Kilda. Didn't really expect as much light rail there. That's not really high on Google Maps. North of the Gold Coast, this place just really looks like an FEC Aussie World. Come on. Again, at least like with the Gold Coast Park, does show there's like a bus stop within the site. That's all it gets. It does connect to Landsborough, but I think the general sort of like terrain around Aussie World really negatively impacted my opinion of the park. But hey, it's nice that shuttle does exist, but I think just terrain and sort of scale is pretty comparable to some other parks on this list. Heading back in the south of the country is an up-and-coming park, which is like straight out of RCT3, Gumbuya World. The Gumbuya World is actually on the inner city segment beyond Parkingham, which is the actual terminus of commuter service. It does look like it's fairly frequent. Looking outbound from Southern Cross, 6:05 a.m., 7:17, 8:26. Takes less than 90 minutes to get out there, but once you're there, you're screwed. You need to get an Uber or something. It's quite a shame that it's only 11 Australian dollars, I guess. Running out this episode is Rainbow's End over in New Zealand. Hunaka, decent bus terminal, does both local and intercity. Not that far away from the airport, which should have had an air rail link by now, but it got canceled. I consider it a regional rail bus terminal. And like Sydney both being the major cities, it makes sense why both those score pretty high. Obviously, the Gold Coast isn't that bad. It's just Dreamworld just being a bit further out, disadvantaged compared to the 2 Village Roadshow parks. The 2 river lines plus the premise of the rapid transit, where Australia gets 2 points for its 2 buses, the light rail, and then being a ferry stop. Dreamworld only has the regional rail and the 1 bus route. Again, I was like, pretty surprised at how big Melbourne's light rail network is. Boy, will an Aussie world say from the vast intercity networks that are actually pretty frequent, although intercity and long distance seem to be a big flaw in Australia. There's a whole lot of surprises when it came to just the vast transit networks down under. So bring it back next time as we focus on the parks and the ways they can grow. So until then, comment, like, subscribe, and strike the bell.